My name's Margaret. Welcome to Car Readings. Now I'm going to do Madeleine McCann again, but this will be chapter 5 and 6. So if you like, subscribe and put your thumbs up, yeah, if you like it. So the story behind 5 and 6, actually before I start that, I want to give you some information that I forgot last lot. And this is really interesting, some of this is. This is not going to happen to afterwards, so this is one. Their bedtime's at 7:30. I'll share that with you. 2, Kate meant to have a really good memory. Now, you won't think nothing of it right now, but later on I'll tell you why it's important to remember this. 2, when they were on the beach, when they go and have the ice cream in it, and when Kate said, do I leave the keys? Someone can come and take them. And she said through the book that you wouldn't think it happened at night, just think in the daytime with her. And I find that really interesting, just that in itself, because, and this is my theory, when I go out for walks, I walk any time in the day. I walk at night too, and 90%, well, 100% of people, I should say, will freak out about me walking at night. There's a, what you doing? You can get burglary, you can get raped, whatever. And I'm the one who has to calm them down and say, what can happen at night can happen in the daytime. So for me, hear a parent say that, what she said, like, I'm more worried in the daytime what happened to my children to at night. That's quite interesting, I thought, because, like I said, 99% of people I know out there figure out that you're doing something at night. So yeah, there's a theory there. It is just a theory. So this is where it's gonna lead into chapter 5. Now what I've got, like I said, Jerry, when he was, I was so tired, and he went home. Remember the time I said to you he got tired and Kat was upset with him to a point that she slept in a separate room. Well, that morning, as she heard that, Madeleine said, why didn't you come when I was upset? And she was a bit worried about that, because it was that time of the night, and I thought that's interesting. Because at the early stages, when Madeleine was really young and the kids, Kate said they normally wake up early in the morning for about 30 to 45 minutes, and then they go back to sleep or whatever. And I found that really interesting. So what happened between past 7:30 when they went to bed to whenever Greg and Kate came back? So I thought that's interesting. That's later in the night. So yeah, I thought that's interesting. So that's one thing. So the other thing is, Kate was worried about that, I must admit, which she said, I'm a bit concerned leaving them on their own. So yeah, they talked about it. So and the theory was that Madeleine must have been awake, if she did wake up, I'm not quite sure, because she wasn't really fussed about it. Like, she might have watched something on TV or something. So they reckon she would have been awakened during 30 to 45 minutes through that night, and they were concerned about that because it's unusual, and so that's okay. And therefore that was nothing unusual to the following day when she got kidnapped. And the other thing she said, that odd thing on that day, was she had a coffee, well, they think it was a coffee stain on her top. It looked like a coffee stain on her top, and they were wondering where did that come from. So that was interesting. Yes, tea stain. Yes, she does have a cup of tea with her mum and dad, but for her it was unusual. So that was the other thing with it. The other thing was, the coffee stain. The other thing is, there was Kate went to a tennis thing with Madeleine, and it must have been, right, the guy was taking a picture of his daughter there, and there must have been another man there, and And the man said it was really, really taking photos. So, and you've probably heard this, where these, so you have to be really careful how you take your photos of your daughters or your kids and people around them. So he was talking about that, and I thought that's interesting. Just interesting in itself, because yeah, it just, I just want to share that. And there was two, like him and another person, Kate, talking about the whole legal side of it all. So that's interesting. The other thing was, Madeleine in the morning went to the beach with her group that she goes every day with. She went not kayaking, what do you call it? Ape sailing and all that, kind of like going in boats and that. And a lady called Fiona went along and picked up her daughter. And she said, well, I didn't see Madeleine there. So that's okay. Then in, I think it was the next chapter, paragraph of the book, and they talk about this. Fiona, okay, said her and Fiona and their kids were going to have lunch. Yeah. And to me, that, at least it's case talking about two different timings. It's really interesting how Fiona doesn't see Madeleine, but then the next minute they're walking along the beach, looking for something to eat for lunch. So that's really interesting. I thought it doesn't connect together, to my opinion. One minute she says she's with Fiona collecting medicine. That's what it sounds like. The next minute she's saying she's not. One minute Fiona can see medicine, next minute she can't. So I thought that's interesting itself. Yeah, so I thought I'd share that with you. The other thing was, let's talk about that lunch I talked to you about. Now there's a photo, and we've all seen these photos where Madeleine's at the tennis court and Madeleine's at the pool, Greg and her sister and brother. Kate talks about this. The reason I'm putting this one in here, because there's a lot of stuff out there about the photos, and this was, like I said, she went missing 2007. The book was done 5 years later, so that was 2013. So I thought that was interesting, so I thought I want to clear that up. Now, the kids, on the day before Madeleine, that night that Madeleine went missing, on that day, the kids went to Toddler Club, I think they call it, at 2:45, and 10 minutes later, Madeleine went to her group. So that's interesting. So I'll share that with you. And at 3:30, Greg and Kate went to a tennis game. It was just an open thing that they were doing. But before that started, there was a person or two people that they saw, and they're just mucking around. Greg was just mucking around with this person, playing tennis with them. And then later, because Kate and Joe had an hour tennis lesson, I suppose you can call it. So they were there for about, I would say, an hour and a half, because you got your friend came in playing tennis for half an hour, then an hour of teaching. So they got there at 3:30, so they must have left about 5, I would say. Then later on, this was before this, or no, it was like after this, Greg and Kate went to the beach with the kids, or Greg and Kate just went on their own. And Kate said she was a bit upset about this, because the group that they went for dinner with were at the beach having, I don't know, a meal of hers or something. And I thought that was interesting, because Kate and Joe just went along and had a tennis match. You can't have both, you're with the group or you're not. So I thought that was interesting itself. Then about, and that was about 5:30, yeah. So the kids, then Kate went off, they had a shower and all that, they ready for whatever. Then she went to the restaurant and saw the kids with Greg with having their meal. Now, they both realised that the kids were tired, so they went home, to the apartment, sorry, and then they put on the jump, brush their teeth, and see what they want to do afterwards. Do they go back to the park or not? So that's interesting. And at 6, Greg went to a tennis man social night thing. I don't know much about it, but he was doing that. And at this time, Kate and the kids went to this park and played there. They came back and the kids had, like, I'm assuming night supper, as I would call it. This was about 6 o'clock. And when they were doing that, Kate was having a shower. Now, I don't know much, I don't want to read into it, but I thought it's a good thing to put into it. When Kate was having a shower, she heard a knock, and she came out in her towel, and she was looking around and realised it was David, one of her friends that came there. So I thought that's interesting. It might mean nothing, but I want to share that with you. The second thing, Greg came back about 7 o'clock, and he helped the kids go to bed, have a sleep. The kids went to sleep at 7:15, yeah. Greg had a shower at 7:30. That's right, and then that's when they went to the restaurant that night. Yeah, no, they went to the restaurant at 8:30, yeah, that's right. And when they went to the restaurant, it was like Tapper 7, Tapper 9, something like that. And they met a couple who was playing tennis with them at this club. So they went to the restaurant, talked to this couple, and that was 8:30, yeah. And 10 minutes later, Jane came in at 8:30. Then Rachel met, then Russell, then Fran and Dave and Denny. Now, I don't know how long this took them all to come in. It started at Jane coming in at 8:30. That's it. So that's interesting. And when they left the room, they left the door, they call it jar, and I don't know how far is it, like this far, I don't know, but it's jar open. And from what the guy said, I should say Kate said, Joe went to check on the kids at about 9:05, maybe a bit before that. He realised the door was a bit open, and the other thing was this: when Kate and Jerry left the house, the apartment, they went from the parlour door, so I'm assuming that's the back door, and they do have child gates there, and they make sure that they were locked, closed. They had 2, one at the top, one down the bottom, so I'm assuming one's for the outside bottom, one's for the top part when you go out into the pallet thing there. Well, that's important to share that with you too. The other thing is, like I said, they went in, it was about 8:40, this guy started to come in. Jerry left at about 9:05, just a bit before that, to go and check on all the kids. Now, from what I get it, he doesn't just check on his kids, he checks on all the kids, like family kids and all that, yeah. Now, that he went out, he realised the door was a bit open, not more, and they left it open, so he just shut it a bit and just left it, and he left by the patio door, I think they said, and then went back down. Now, there's a lady on the way he met, Jess, I think it says, Jess, and he was on one side of the road. Well, you got 2 stories. He's on one side of the road, and he wasn't sure that he wanted to come across her. It was getting late, and he knew his meal was ready and all that. But he started to go over and talk to this Jess lady. Now, I really don't know when they stopped talking. It must have been a bit of time, but I don't know how long. And because Kate started to worry what really was Jerry. But at the same time, when Jerry was talking to Jess, Jess saw a person, a man carrying a child. I think it was Jess. If it wasn't Jess, it'd be Jane. It'd be one or the other. But yeah. And later on, they realised Jane came along and they saw Jess and Jared talking together. Now, the theory with this, in case talks about it, is the girls thought Jared was on the same road, on the same footpath, but then later on, Jared's saying he's on the opposite, so not quite sure. So that's interesting. And then a guy, what's his name? Grant, I think his name is. Kate went up to get up to check on the kid, and he goes, "No, don't worry, I'll do it," because he was going to check on his own kids. So that's okay. So she said, "Okay, I'll do that. You go and check. I'll do the next one." That must have been about 9:30 or 9:35. We all know they meant to check on them every half an hour, yeah. So that must have been about 9:30. Everything was okay. Like everyone's, I said the door was a bit open, so he shuts it, not shut it, but put it back to that time. Then Kate went the following one, so that would have been about 10:05, all right? She goes and checks on the kids, realised that Madeleine wasn't there, so she thought, oh, let's check mine and get Jerry a room. Realised she wasn't there, so she's trying to figure out, like our parents do. And that's where she just yells and goes down to the restaurant, saying Madeline's not there. And that's where the whole thing came along. And what they did, and when Jerry came up, this is interesting, I want to share this with you, this is interesting. Kate realised the window was open and the shutter was open. Gary meant to go and close these windows. The reason I find this is interesting, because if you all watch the media, the theory is Kate's fingerprints meant to be on it. So if Jerry shut the windows, shouldn't his fingerprints be on it, not hers? So that's quite interesting. I thought I'll share that with you because that makes no sense to me. So that's okay. And then Diana, like has, I said, there's a group of people with, and what happened, there was, see if I can see it, there was 4 people who went one way and then the other 4 went to the other way. So that's interesting. So, yeah, Jane, this is where I don't get this bit too. Jane meant to come in, say to Kate and Jerry, we will look after the kids at our house to make things easier. And I'm sure she said it's okay. But then in like next paragraph or 2, like I said, you hear about her and Jerry, or her and Jane sitting on the couch hugging the kids. Because Melissa's not there, they're worried about it. Now, Jerry, what Kate said, they haven't left the apartment. Yeah, and that makes sense. If they're in her apartment, they haven't left the apartment since Madeleine went missing. But then next minute you hear, the first bit, you hear that Jane are saying, let's look after the kids at my house. So it kind of doesn't make sense. I thought I'll share that with you. Now the other thing is, there was 9 of them, or I don't get this right, but yeah, there's Jerry and Russell, Matthew, Grant, and David went off and looked at where they are, and the others went to other places. Now Kate stayed at the hotel room. That's okay, but later on you hear Kate saying the police didn't come for an hour later. Interesting, isn't it? Actually, for that she says the police didn't come to not 10:35. That's and a half an hour after Madeleine went missing. So 1 minute she's saying an hour, next minute she's saying half an hour. So that's pretty interesting, I thought. There was a lady called John Hill, I think his name. He couldn't speak English, so a lady, she's a work maintenance person, like fixing up roofs and all that. She was the management, so she came in and talked to the police in that language. I can't remember what language it's in, that language. So I thought that's interesting. The other thing is, and this is true, if Jerry Kate didn't do anything, I'm not saying they have, but if they didn't, or if they did, whatever, there's 4 other countries, well, so 6 other countries around Port that they could have got to very easily. Whoever took her could have easily got to these countries. And I thought that's interesting. That's 6 countries. And I thought that's really interesting. So yeah, I thought I'll share that with you. So yeah, Kate was freaking out. What about everything? And and this is where it's really, as you hear later on the other story, that Kate had really issues with the police because the communication side of it. So that's interesting, I thought. So the police, there was a place, I can't remember what they call it, Million Police or something, where they just do your common police and stuff, like maybe booking the person or went through a red light, that kind of stuff. It's kind of like here in Australia, we have that kind of stuff, and maybe back an injury, but not the biggest, like murder cases. You have a separate police station area people do, and that's what she said. Well, these police were kind of like the bottom of the police work, and that's okay. I'm not putting them down, but the bottom of it. But they were in a murder case stuff. They weren't trying to do that kind of stuff, so they didn't really know what they were doing because that's not their area of their work. It's a specialized area. So I thought that's interesting because maybe because she did say they said they thought she might have walked off. So yeah, it makes sense, kind of sense. But then they got the we call it I can't remember, but the police that helps with murder cases and all that. Yeah, so that's interesting. So that's interesting. This is where Jerry started to call his sister, isn't it? Over where he lived, and that's where the public, the media came into it. So that's what's interesting, because I was thinking, like I said, I'll put a whole heap of names here. The lawyer, Rachel, you think, no, I don't expect to know a lot about it, but you think to know a bit about that kind of stuff, like putting things out in the public to, the whole lot. So, but it got to a point that everyone in London, I think it is, or Britain, that knew everything about the story back. Madeleine went missing. So that's interesting. So the following day, this is chapter 6. Like I said, they didn't leave the hotel, the room, like I said, but this kind of digs through it for the whole, I think it was 38 hours or something like that. They did not leave the room, so no one went. But like I said, last chapter, that the kids meant to go and just found Jan's room, so it doesn't make sense. Yeah. and they're sitting at the couch hugging the kids. So that's interesting in itself. So, and that's when the following day when Kate and Jerry was talking about this man that Jane saw on the road, and she kind of felt guilty about it, so that's interesting. The other thing was there was two dogs. From what I get it, they had two different jobs. Like, I don't know, one was the DNA, and I'm assuming the other person was dead. On the media, they said they came in 8 o'clock a.m., but Kate felt that they didn't come to about 1 a.m. because she felt alone at that time in the morning, and she got told that later on in August 2008 that she read that. So yeah, that's interesting because she felt very alone. They went to the police station. Now this is interesting. Kate and Jerry, Jane and David went to the police station because they wanted half and half because they had kids. Yeah, that's fine. And the other thing with this, like they're interviewing these guys. From what I get, when you do an interview with the police, you have one person at a time. They took, well, through Kate's eyes, they took 3 of them together. She wasn't one of them. 3 of them together during an interview. I find that really interesting. And then later on, Kate said when she went for the interview, someone asked, can Jerry be with her when she did the interview? And they said that was okay. So that's interesting, I thought myself. No, like I said, it was Jerry, Kate, Jane, David. But later on, this is interesting because she changed some of the names around. And it was, who was it? I hate the names. But one of the 2 names changed. Instead of instead of Jane, it was like Fiona. And I thought, you just double tick yourself then. So I thought that's interesting because 1 minute they're saying these, here it is. It was Kate, Jerry, I think it was Fiona and David. The other was Jane instead of David. So that's interesting in itself. So yeah, what else do I need to pass on to you? Kate's not really happy with it, like the interpretation of it, through it all. The picture of Madeleine and all that, the pictures didn't come out to May the 25th. That's interesting, I thought. That's pretty much it. And I find it really, Jerry, someone in the interview room talking about where he came with. I don't know how that works, but bring them in and work, but they say no to it. I find that really interesting, just because something I said in my reading, so I thought that's interesting. The other thing is, I found, like I said, the 4 people came to an interview, and the other 4 meant to be at the apartment, sorry, that they interviewed for Red's Medicine. But when they were at this interview, when they were about to finish it, the other 4 came in, and I found that really interesting because if 4 of them were on the way out and 4 of them came in, where's the kids? And he kept saying they were right about, but if there was 4 in the interview and 4 on the way out, it doesn't make sense. And that's pretty, there was a social worker. Now wondering from what Kate said about her, had she said the social worker asked her to sit a table on the ground and they would talk. That's not the reason, but I wonder why the board and childcare worker into it. I mean, I don't know much about crimes like this, so I just want to share that with you. But in the interview with Kate and everyone, Kate said, and this is really weird because I don't see this. I really don't see this. I don't know. I don't care who you are. From what I get it with the police, they are really prompt to doing the things right. And Kate says there was no video or audio with interviews. And I found that really interesting. As a known the whole, I don't know much about interviews in it, but I know police do that for backup, because if something happens through it all, you got a backup there. So for me, that makes no sense in itself. So I'll share that with you. I think that was it. Oh yeah, sorry, there is more. The Kate did, I don't know how the whole story about Kate doesn't believe in the dogs and DNA. She did pass on the clothes that medicine was written in the last few days to the police for the dogs. So even if she doesn't believe in it, she did help him with it. So for that's important to know. So that's yeah, it's pretty much it's all wrong. So that's it, because yes, you can see I did forget some things. So what do you think? Because some of it, like I said, some of this is double dicks in itself. Like I said, and I wish I had names, and it was see if I got it here. No, I don't. But it was, he said two other nights with her and Jared going to the police station. Then later on, she's changed her name. It's like Rachel or Fiona or Jen or something like that. And I thought that's really interesting. She changed the names just on herself with that. And two, like I said, if they're going on the way out and the other guys are coming in, rest the kids. So I thought that's interesting. So yeah. And two, like I said, this whole thing when Fiona went to pick up her daughter, she didn't see Madeleine. Yeah, that's nothing unusual. It does happen. But then she says she's at the beach with Fiona with the two kids going off to, I don't know, get lunch or something with Fiona. So 1 minute she's with Fiona saying, yes, we're with the kids, so they must have picked up together. Next minute she said no, Fiona went to pick up her daughter on her own. That really doesn't make sense. Yeah, so this is what I'm saying. It's really interesting reading this book. And I would highly recommend anyone, because I'm just giving little bits out of this book. There's a lot more in this book. A lot of people are reading Between the Lines with this too. There's a guy, I can't remember his name, but he's reading Between the Lines, like the body language and what Kate's saying and all that. That's interesting itself, but I'm not doing it. I'm just going by the facts. And it's really interesting just going by the facts, what you pick up on. So I would highly recommend you, if you haven't read the book, and I know some people say it's emotional, but it's quite an interesting book, because it's from the mother's mouth. It's not from anyone else, it's just from the mother. It's not from the next door neighbour, it's just from her. And the other thing with this, to just say earlier, that because the whole situation, she's not remembering everything, but she meant to be really good at remembering. So it's really interesting in itself. So, yes, like I said, I did a reading, but I could be wrong with it. But just reading it, it's quite interesting, isn't it? So if I was you, get the book and read it. Two with this, if you like, subscribe, put your thumbs up for it, and tell me what you think about it. Do you agree with a lot of it doesn't make sense, or do you think Kate's making it up, or I don't know, like if someone's like, as they say, holding a gun or turns her head and doing the story, or does Kate know more and she say she does, or is she just making a book? Who knows? But tell me what you think. It's quite an interesting book, and we're only just in chapter 6. There's 23 chapters here, so we're just kind of touching the surface with this at the start. So there's going to be more into this. So tell me what you think. Thumbs up if you like it. Subscribe if you want. And if you like the context, tell me about it and tell me what your thoughts are. So continue for chapter 7 and 8. I'll see you later. Bye.